Hi, and welcome back to this Tuesday edition of Focal Point, AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. Great to have you in the conversation today. The program is Focal Point, the network. On your mind.
Good afternoon, Brian. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Right ahead.
Well, first of all, I want to give glory to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for everything that we have and will have. But
hey, amen to that.
another thing to let you know, I'm a long-lost Idahoan. I lived in Hayden Lake.
Oh, did you?
So I lived a little bit north of you for a while.
Yeah. Up there in that haven of white supremacy. Let me ask you this question. You know, that's the reputation that Idaho has, Hayden Lake has, this haven of white supremacy. Did you run into any white supremacists up there? Did you ever see them in action up there?
Oh, yeah. I used to had not purposefully, but had breakfast with the pastor and his crew almost once or twice a week at a local restaurant.
He had breakfast with who?
The pastor of the white supremacists.
Oh, was it with that Butler guy?
Yeah, Mr. Butler.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, what's on your mind?
Anyway, I wanted to comment a little bit about the talk you had on the heritage piece that you showed earlier.
Yeah.
And I think I know you should remember your part on that video called The Agenda.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I watched that just recently and for the first time and was totally blown away.
That's a good movie, isn't it? Yeah. Kurt Bowers, a good friend of mine, just did an absolutely great job. And by the way, he's coming out with a sequel to that. So okay. that'll be out probably later this year.
Well, when in your comments on the to the gentleman from the Heritage Group, all to me all boils down a little bit farther than where you took it, and that is the deconstruction, of the American family. We have a lot of liberal lambs being led to the slaughter. Mm-hmm. In that, as you recall on the agenda, what we're seeing today in this deconstruction is nothing more than one of the major items on the Marxist Manifesto.
Yeah, in fact, that's basically number one. You look at the things that Marx was out to destroy. It was religion and the family, Christianity and the family.
So here we are. We have all these liberals who were totally, at times, uninformed, being led to do, quote, what they can for, our big government, but really they're all being led down to this progressive slide into, past socialism into Marxism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly right.
It's just when you watch it day by day, particularly after you watch that video called The Agenda, all the pieces are really falling into place, and it scares me to death.
Well, and that's what was interesting about the work that Curtis did in that movie, The Agenda, which I believe you can get on our online store here at AFA. But the way he connected the dots, going all the way back to Marx and Engels and their socialist thinking, and connected the dots right up to the president, right up to the individual that occupies the White House today, and you see the sinister philosophy that's really in operation there. And you think about what Melissa Harris Perry said, MSNBC, we got to get past the notion that children belong to parents. Mm-hmm. They belong to the community. It's back to the old takes a village to raise a child and all that. And that's really exactly what we're up against. And, it's not a new idea. I mean, I've talked about this before, but you look at Plato's Republic. That's what Plato taught, that parents are nothing more than breeders. We got to get citizens from somewhere. We got to get them from moms and dads. But as soon as they're old enough for us to take them, we're going to take them, and then we're going to raise them from the time that they're infants so we can brainwash them, we can indoctrinate them, we can raise up a whole generation of people who think exactly like we do. All right, well, listen, I appreciate that call. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate that. Let's grab a call from Joyce in Geronimo, Oklahoma. Joyce, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Thank you for taking my call. I think you're the best person I can present this to. Oklahoma Education Television has what they call Independent Lens, and they gave a show on the unidentified aliens. Now, we think of people that are illegal aliens, and I think that is a sad term because the Mexicans call themselves, no human can be called illegal.
Right, like we're saying that human beings are illegal rather than behavior. It's behavior that's illegal, not people.
Correct, but what's worse than being called illegal is being called unidentified. You have people bringing those Mexicans to America to have a job. They leave them across the fence and point to in the darkness, they point to something that's a light a distance away, and they say, just start walking. But it's about 3 days walk before you get anywhere near that city where the lights are. And the unidentified aliens are ones that are either killed or die in the desert. Anything that's identification for them, what they sew in if they sew phone numbers inside the belt band of their blue jeans, or do anything to keep money handy. They promise their relatives back in Mexico, I'll call you as soon as I get there, but they never get here. And when they do come, we find them in the desert, and they're just a corpse, and there's no identification on them.
Yeah, so they have no way of knowing who this person is. They've got no way to contact family, no way for that person to get any kind of a decent burial. You know, and bottom line, what you're saying, Joyce, and this is, I think, an important picture, because I believe if something is right, if it's right and just, it is right and best for everybody, because the truth is going to be good and best and right for everybody. You may not get what you want, but you'll be getting what you need and what is right. And you look at what you're talking about, Joyce. You know, if we had a border that was sealed, I believe that the first order of business is build a double-layer security fence across our entire southern border. We can do it. We built the Empire State Building in 18 months, 17 months, middle of the Depression. We can build a fence. We just lack the will, not the ability. But if you have a double-layer security fence where we've sealed that border, then it is saving the lives of the illegal aliens that are in the situation that you're talking about, where they pay a coyote X number of dollars, human trafficker, to bring them across the border. They get dropped in the desert, in the wasteland. They can't survive. They don't have water, don't have food, and they die out there. How is that compassionate? How is that compassionate for those people who I just can't imagine the excruciating kind of death that they would die? So securing a border is good for illegal aliens who are protected from death by exposure. All right, Joyce, listen, I appreciate that call. Thank you for that. Unidentified illegal aliens on top of those that we can identify. Now, that kind of touches on the immigration issue. You know, and we talked with Mike Gonzalez, Heritage Foundation, first part of the program, first hour, about the cost of this illegal immigration program. You know, Jeff Sessions is estimating now that this is going to result in 57 million migrants to the United States, not just the 11 million that are going to be legalized. There's going to be another 30 million. Left and right agree that 30 million additional people are going to come in. And Jeff Sessions, look, you got to add to that total of 33 million. You got to add another 25 million that are going to come in on other parts of this amnesty bill. So this is going to 57 million people over the next 10 years, catastrophic cost. And the comment or editorial on townhall.com today making the point that the Amnesty 8, Marco Rubio and his buddies, they have never offered an estimated cost of the immigration reform package that they are proposing. They're not even giving us an educated guess about how much it is going to cost. I'm looking at a piece here from the Telegraph in London about the impact of mass immigration in the UK. Now, they've had virtually unrestricted immigration in the UK now for decades, and what they have discovered is that there's no assimilation that's taking place. There's no integration that's taking place. When you allow this virtually unimpeded immigration to take place, immigrants who come here from other countries, they cluster together with people that come from the same country. So you get these little enclaves where they never learn English, they never adopt English values, they never adopt European values, they never become a part of English culture, European culture. So you get this very heavily balkanized culture in the UK. That's where we're headed. I mean, in a lot of ways, we are already there. And the specific example they give is of London, where there are 600,000 fewer white Britons in London than there were just 10 years ago. So you got this white flight. That's the size, that's the equivalent of the city of Glasgow has left London, and they've been replaced by minority communities who have become more concentrated and more isolated. So the melting pot just goes completely away when you've got that kind of deal. You know, when President Obama was down in Mexico last week, he was singing the praises of Mexico. We played the soundbite about the gun bite, about we got to keep the hands out of dangerous criminals and dangerous people. And I kind of walked you through, well, who are the dangerous people if they're not criminals? Well, it's evangelicals. It's us. That's who he's talking about. We're the ones, according to Janet Napolitano, we're the ones that have to be feared. They got to keep guns out of the hands of dangerous people. Who are the extremists? Who are the threats to national security? Well, it's evangelicals. So that's just setting the stage to confiscate our guns. But Obama just couldn't stop talking about what a wonderful country Mexico is in his speech. He never says anything about the United States, never praises the United States, never goes abroad and talks about the wonders of liberty we have in the United States, never even praises America here in America. But everywhere he goes, he just extols the wonders of whatever part of the world he's in. Here's a piece from the LA Times. After President Obama's upbeat speech in Mexico on Friday, many in attendance said they were flattered by the description of their country, but others said they hardly recognized the place he had just described. That was a really good speech by President Obama, but what Mexico was he talking about? Said Jose Carlos, a graduate student in international relations. Unfortunately, in our country, the situation is terrible. There's poverty, unemployment, and even worse, the future is anything but promising. How nice that he came to give inspiring speeches, but what's happening in Mexico is far from what he talked about today. Here's Rosa Castro, 43-year-old college professor. My question is, who wrote Obama's speech? Enrique Peña Nieto, he's the president of Mexico. Was it his team that wrote the speech? Obama is fantastic, but I believe that today he was talking about another country, not ours. And, of course, it's just obvious if Mexico was the paradise that Barack Obama was painting, and America is the cesspool of racism and intolerance that he believes it to be, why do they even want to come here in the first place? Focal Point AFR Talk. Back with more.